The Congress Party, or the Grand Old Party of India, has been in terminal decline electorally for close to a decade now. Some would even argue that the decline began in the mid-90s. But it is India's primary opposition party today, and the plethora of issues which it's facing has been consistently hindering its prospects. I wanted to dive into some of these key issues today which the party faces. And it is an honor to be joined by Sanjay Jha, who is the former national spokesperson of the Congress Party. He is also author of the best-selling book, The Great Unraveling, India After 2014. Sanjay is one of the most articulate and noted faces in Indian television. And, over the last week or so, the dominant or trending conversation in political circles is that of whether the political consultant Prashant Kishore will join the Congress Party. Now, a lot of Congress supporters have been desperately hoping for the leadership to wake up and smell the coffee. And it finally seems like the party is taking some action to change and reform itself. So, Sanjay, firstly, welcome to Swell. It's very kind of you to take time out to chat with me, and I'm so excited to spark this conversation. I'm just going to follow this up with a few questions, and I'm really excited for our discussion. So, Sanjay, I wanted to know what you made of the story. So Prashant Kishore has a formidable track record when it comes to working with political parties and producing favorable outcomes in elections. Now, as a congressman and as someone who has actively given out suggestions and solutions to what the party can do, how do you view this development, and what do you think the future holds if Prashant Kishore does join the party?
Well, I do believe that Prashant Kishore's coming into the Congress Party will be extremely beneficial for the Grand Old Party. You need fresh ideas. The Congress Party truly would benefit if it has, a disruptive change in it. The party has become extremely old-fashioned and archaic. The whole political environment is dynamic. The election management systems have changed. Do we know how to manage booths? How well, at the end of the day, are you choosing candidates? Are we choosing them too late? How are you raising funds? The selection of leaders, the empowerment of candidates, making elections within the party become more transparent. I think Prashant will be able to bring the energy, the hunger, and I probably believe very critically a direction that the party needs. If the party begins to now get the will to win, I think it will be a remarkable transformation.
Now, Sanjay, you've written a lot about some of the recommendations that Prashant Kishore already sort of gave out in his presentation. And, one of them was the forming of a shadow cabinet. At least this is what's been sort of reported about in the public domain. What stands out to you from all the recommendations that he has made? And if you had a message for the party high command, what would it be in terms of priorities and actionables going forward in the next few elections?
I do think that this suggestion to not have, family members come into politics, which will only perpetuate the dynastic culture, is a good one. I think that will really help. I also feel that, having alliances, for example, it's nothing novel, but his suggestion that you should look at limited number of seats, 375 seats that the Congress can probably fight on its own, while on the balance it has to make arrangements and accommodation with other parties. Now, these are practical suggestions that will help the Congress. I also feel that one of the suggestions that I had actually recommended a long time ago, and I'm glad Prashant is backing that as well, which is to make your funding transparent. Make sure that, all your corporate funding, etc., is put up under the RTI. This will actually help the Congress attack the BJP and take, the BJP to town and saying, who is giving you your money for electoral bonds? Who is really funding you? And how exactly are you?
Sanjay, thank you so much for outlining those suggestions. And I think transparency in electoral funding is really the need of the hour. I think this has been something that's been critical for decades now in India. And it really would be a strong precedent if the Congress goes ahead and actually implements that. But you also mentioned dynastic politics and the issue of leadership. So, talk to us about the Gandhis. Can you speak to us about the role and maybe relevance that they still play, if any at all, today in Indian politics? And what are some of your personal experiences dealing with Rahul Gandhi? And realistically, what do you think the family what role can they play given the might of the BJP today?
Oh, well, first and foremost, we have to accept that the Gandhi family's contribution to the Congress and let's not forget to the country is humongous. The Gandhi family, by the way, if you look at it, has Motilal Nehru, has Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who I consider the one prime minister who's been the world statesman that India has produced. In my opinion, probably it's a Nehruvian construct that truly is the DNA of India, which we call it the idea of India, which is what? Which is respecting your constitution and India being a secular, inclusive, democratic republic. So in that sense, the Gandhis are truly, in many ways, the foundation builders of modern India. However, I mean, this is the other hard political reality is that the quality of leadership has changed over the years. So Mrs. Gandhi had a great run until the emergency, for which unfortunately that she's largely remembered for. But don't forget the heroic performance in 1971 war against Pakistan, which resulted in the liberation of Bangladesh. And many of the steps that she took, which were pro-poverty, were well-intentioned, even if they did not work. You look at Rajiv, for example, and he's been an extraordinary success story on telecom and computers. But once again, he was done in by the fact that he was pretty much a novice in the very... I still do feel somewhere down the line that that the real challenge remains as to how do the Gandhis as a family adapt to the current Indian aspiration of the young, which is to say, let's give merit and opportunity. Now, unfortunately, I got interrupted because a call came in. But let me tell you that while the Congress, even post the Rajiv Gandhi era, did have its run at the center, at no point has the party been able to make its organizational base very strong, which is why I do believe that the party is withered away. As far as Rahul is concerned, I believe he's a very well-read person. He has his own intellectual convictions. He is definitely, in my opinion, a true blue ambassador of an India that will be, tolerant, compassionate, and humane. Where I think Rahul has probably slipped is his ability to take on the BJP by inspiring the cadres in the Congress, by showing a willingness to take bold risks, and significantly, kind of trying to, approach this whole challenge with a fire in the belly. And I think that's where he slipped strategically and to a great extent tactically. My experiences with him actually have been wonderful. I met him even before he joined politics, even before he had become a member of parliament. Then he was very accessible to ideas and very, very easy to talk to. And I do understand that as you get busy, you may not have the time. But my only disappointment has been that he surrounded himself at the moment with people who seem to be not giving him a very honest and thoughtful advice. You see, this is the challenge in politics when you become powerful, when you are in a position to hand out Rajya Sabha seats, or you're able to give people some kind of a perk in the organization. These things do begin to come into play. Are you surrounding yourself with people who tell you the truth, probably tell you the bad news first, or are you allowing the old, extremely debilitating culture of a caucus or a cabal return? I think Rahul's judgment of people is something that has affected his leadership and in a great number of ways hurt the Congress party.
Speaking of events that really hurt the party, Sanjay, I think the exit of Jyotiraditya Scindia and Jitin Prasada and Pradyot Manikya and others really, really hurt the party. So, given the paucity of talent at the moment, who do you see as the future in the Congress? I know you mentioned Sachin Pilot, but can you elaborate on some of the names that come to mind that you think can really take the party forward?
Well, there is no denying that there is no dearth of excellent leaders in the Congress. There is tons of talent. But ultimately, it's about giving them an opportunity. Amongst the names that come to my mind are Shashi Tharoor, probably a Manish Tiwari, a Mukul Wasnik. I mean, these are good leaders. I mean, you have to groom a Dipender Hooda for the future. But I would say Sachin Pilot and Priyanka Gandhi will make a fantastic combination. One is Priyanka is, I still believe, has a strong political brand. She is a good communicator. She's excellent with her relationships. She's still largely untested. It's unfair if people are going to blame her for Uttar Pradesh, but the Congress has been weak for decades. So I do believe a Sachin Pilot and a Priyanka Gandhi ticket, where, at the end of the day, you have Priyanka, who will satisfy a lot of the loyalists or those who don't want a non-Gandhi face, while at the same time you have a Sachin who's aggressive, who's young, who's hardworking, ambitious, and clearly can attract a lot of those people who today have begun to ignore the Congress or have become indifferent to it because they believe it's becoming too much of a private fiefdom of the Gandhi dynasty. So I think this is a good time to try a twin ticket, a Sachin Pilot, Priyanka Gandhi ticket. I think if the Congress feels this double engine will defeat the Narendra Modi, Amit Shah duo. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful being on this call. Thank you.
So Sanjay, my apologies. There was a bit of a glitch in my last post. I have many questions to ask you, but I thought we'll just wrap this up with this one. It's hard to predict how the future of this country is going to evolve, but if you had to maybe extrapolate based on today's events, what is life going to look like after Prime Minister Narendra Modi finishes his term? Is the BJP here to stay for the next few decades, as Prashant Kishore once said, or do you not believe in that theory?
In politics, there are no permanent winners, no permanent losers. No party remains in power forever. I think the BJP is extremely vulnerable. Please do not believe they're going to be here forever. If the Congress gets its act together, the story can change dramatically. And in a great number of ways, political arrogance has usually been the reason why parties have collapsed. I do believe that the BJP's performance has been awful. They have been subpar, but they have been blessed by a very strong mainstream propaganda and an absence of a galvanized opposition. So therefore, in my opinion, it's a matter of time. But if the opposition gets its act together, principally the Congress, the story can change dramatically. So anyone who believes that the BJP is going to be here for decades, I would say, might as well go ahead and tell yourself that you could be living in a fool's paradise.
I think that was very well articulated, Sanjay. There are no permanent winners and losers in politics, and I think this was evidenced in the last 5 years or so in various state elections. So with that, I think we'll draw this conversation to a close. It's been an absolute pleasure connecting with you as always. We're planning many more panels here on Swell in the future, and I'd love to host you on a lot of them. So thank you again for taking the time out, and I hope to see you soon right here back on Swell.